Hello and welcome everyone to the world of Hack the Mountain 3.0 and this informative live session as well. I, Shubhangi Bhardwaj, on behalf of the entire team of HTM, would like to extend my regards and welcome you all to this community based hackathon, where we regularly conduct webinars, workshops, HTM Qubits sessions like this one. All of this to strengthen your skills and help you perform better in the upcoming hackathon. Today, we all are here for a very special webinar presented by none other than Atisha Garg ma'am. She is currently working as a developer advocate at ARCANA. And this informative live session is on the topic building Web 3, building in Web 3. So now I would like to welcome Ms. Garg to start with the presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shubhangi. Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. My name is Atisha. As Shubhangi mentioned, I am currently working with ARCANA as a developer advocate. A bit more about me and what I do. I have previously worked as a blockchain developer as well. Apart from being a developer, I am also a content creator for the last 3 years. I have been majorly creating content on YouTube, but yeah, recently switched to other social media platforms as well. I'm also a firm believer in sharing what I love doing, like development, content creation, and also I'm an active community builder. I love to being around people, and that's the reason why I'm here to deliver something on the things that I have been doing building in Web3. And I hope with this session, you would get more insights on how you can get started, or if you are already in Web3, what are some of the additional things you can do in order to achieve success in your career and, yeah, participate in the hackathon, which we are going to talk about later. So, the topic of today's session is building in Web3. So we are going to talk about why should you one build in Web3, what type of projects you can build, and how you can achieve more by building those projects. It's not about building projects, it's more about how well you are able to sell those projects in order to get further opportunities in your career. So in order to get started, just before getting started, I would like to thank the Hack the Mountains team for organizing this amazing hackathon. And thank you everyone who has joined with me this session, which I'm going to deliver now. So getting started with the first thing, why should you build in Web3? So there are a lot of people who would be like, we already have Web 2, why should we switch to Web 3? I can build a full-fledged application with all the support, everything in Web 2. I don't want to switch in Web 3. But no, there are certain reasons by which I would like to convince you that you should start building in Web 3. So the first and foremost is privacy. So you would have seen that the applications that you build in Web 2, those are majorly uploaded, or those are majorly built based on the companies that are already existing in Web 2, and those companies can make use of your data, and they can there is a data breach that can happen, and there could be privacy issues about the same. But that thing can be overcome in Web 3. How? That we are going to talk about now. So in Web 3, the applications that you build, those are not on any servers of some well-known companies like AWS, Azure, etc. Everything is now being controlled by blockchain. So I think all of you would be knowing what blockchain is, how that helps you store the data, how that is immutable, and that's the main reason why building in Web3 is really very secure, not just for you, but it's also a very big plus point for your application users. Here, your users will be the true owners of their data. We can take an example to understand it better. Now, let's take an example of YouTube. So, say I uploaded a video on YouTube, and that video is now accessible by everyone. But what YouTube can do, it can take my video down and at any point in time without even stating me the reason, and that has happened to me. So what is the way to prevent it? The major way to prevent that particular thing is by building an application in Web3. You can build a decentralized applications wherein you can make use of the decentralized platform for storing your data, for uploading your videos, and in that way, you will be the true owner of your video that you're uploading. And let's take another small example. For example, you are using Instagram. Now, Instagram is making use of your particular data and selling it to the advertisers by which they are earning money. So why would you want as a user that your data should be breached, and why would you want to use a platform which is less secure? So for that particular reason, it's very very good to start building in Web3. Also, the data that you will now be uploading.
Ma'am, I'm sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt. Ma'am, are you trying to show a PPT meanwhile you're speaking? Like, are you
Yes.
presenting your screen because the PPT is not available?
Oh, is it? Let me quickly check. Thank you for
Now it
pointing it
is.
out. Um, is it not? Is it not
It is
visible now?
visible now. Go on, ma'am. Go on, ma'am. It is visible now.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. So we were talking about how the data is distributed and it is not owned centrally. There is no particular central authority like YouTube, Facebook, or any other platform. It can be not just the social media platforms, other platforms as well, which make use of your data. So there is no central entity to control. And also, no government can come and tell you to take down your application or take down uh, your post that you have put. So that's why building an application in Web3 can overcome all of these problems that are there in Web2. Also, one major benefit that you get by building in Web3 is the blockchain technology is trustless. You need not trust any third party for securing your data, and there is no intermediary that is required which can charge you money.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but the actually the PPT is gone again. I'm trying not to put it on full screen. This is good, ma'am. Don't
Okay,
put it
okay.
on full screen because the moment you put it on full screen, the PPT is not available.
Oh, I
This
don't know
works,
why this
ma'am.
happened. Okay, okay. Let me share it in this way only then. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So sorry for the interruption that is happening. But yeah, so another great thing about building in Web3 is any data that you are putting that is verifiable. It is available on the blockchain all the time, and anyone can go and check. It's not only applicable to the transactions that you're doing, but also applicable to the data you're uploading. If you think at any point in time that your data is not available or your data is not there, you can simply go to blockchain explorer and see whether the transaction that you made earlier is now there or not. uh, so those are some of the major benefits of building in Web3. Now coming to the next thing, how to start building in Web3. So some of the audience who are watching this video right now, they might not have a good background in how to start building in Web3, but I know that most of you would be Web2 developers. So I can tell you that it's really very easy to start building in Web3 as well. Most of the tech stacks that you know in Web2 can be leveraged in Web3 as well. However, you'll have to learn some additional tech stacks as well, which we are going to talk about now. So let's first talk about the backend part of it. So in our case now in Web3, you will not have a backend in form of a server. You will instead have the blockchain technology. So in order to code anything on blockchain, you will be making use of smart contracts. So when we say coding the backend in Web3, you'll be saying that coding the smart contracts. Now, if we talk about the languages that can be used for coding the smart contracts, so if you are creating any application in like on EVM compatible chains, you will have to use Solidity for it. And there are certain frameworks on which you can start coding your smart contracts in Solidity. So if we talk about Solidity, there is an amazing framework, open source framework. Here, this framework is called Hardhat. You can use this particular framework to code your smart contracts. And if you are really a very new person in Web3, then you can make use of Remix IDE as well. It's an open source platform which lets you write Solidity smart contracts and test them out on the web browser itself. You don't have to download anything. An alternative to Hardhat is Truffle. So you can start coding your smart contracts on either Hardhat or Truffle. But Hardhat is really very useful these days because here you can compile, you can test, you can deploy your smart contracts in one go. However, in Truffle, you'll have to use Ganache for testing your smart contracts. Now, if you are a Python person, say in Web2 you have been working on Python, then you can code your smart contracts in Python on EVM compatible chains using Vue. Vue is another programming language. And in that case, if you are using Vue, you will be using Brownie, that is a framework, instead of Hardhat or Truffle. You have to keep in mind that initially you might feel confused which language to go with and which programming language you should start with. But start with one particular programming language, and as and when you feel comfortable with it, you can start exploring other tech stacks as well. Also, you have to keep in mind, if you are going to code in other chain apart from EVM compatible chains, you have to learn their respective programming languages. For example, if you are planning to code on Solana, you will have to learn Rust. Moving on. So these are the major things that you have to keep in mind while starting with this space. There is one thing that initially faced problem with when I was starting with Web3. So especially building in Web3, that was it did not have a really good user experience. What I mean by that, so in order to make any transaction or in order to interact with the blockchain via your smart contract, you have to make use of a wallet. Now, in order to make use of wallet, you can use either mobile wallets, or you can use Chrome extensions like MetaMask, or in case of Solana, you'll have to use Phantom. But you will have to manage your keys. You will have to keep in mind, okay, now I need to store my seed phrase well. I have to keep my private key secret. I don't have to share it with anyone. And that creates a lot of hassle. And also, if you're a builder, if you are a decentralized app builder, you do not know that the users of your application would be Web3 savvy or not. They might not even have understanding of how to set up a wallet, and they might lose their key, they might lose funds henceforth, and it can be a lot of hassle. So in order to avoid that, Arcana has come up with something. But before that, there is a quick overview of how the login flow looked like. So in Web 1, you simply had to put your username and password, and that was fixed. You cannot change it. Then in Web 2, you we moved to more centralized platforms giving great opportunities like Google, Facebook, Twitter. You can just create a Google account and use it for any of the for logging into any of your applications. You can either use Facebook login or Twitter login. Now in Web 3, this has been converted to connecting to a wallet, because now you're not interacting to a particular centralized server. Here you are connecting to a blockchain, and these wallets provide you with a node via which you can interact with the blockchain, right? But the problem is, as I just mentioned, that not all of your DApp users would be Web3 savvy. Then what to do in that case? So in that case, think about how, if you start using these sign-in options in Web3 as well, If that is given, if you are given that opportunity, don't you think it would be really very easy for your DApp users to get onboarded on your platform, right? So this is what Arcana provides to the users. So one of the great thing that Arcana provides is you can integrate with Arcana's Auth SDK in order to onboard your users via social logins like these or passwordless login. In passwordless login, what happens? You are just given a magic link to your respective email ID, and via which you can log into your application. So here also, one of the benefit that you get, your users won't have to bother about managing their keys. That will be taken care by Arcana. And that's why it's, if you are building an application and you are participating in this hackathon, you can make use of Arcana's Auth SDK to onboard users. What else can you make? Uh, what else can you leverage from Arcana? So Arcana also provides decentralized storage and access control. What I mean by that? So let's think of a scenario in Web 2. So if you are, for example, you are building, say, a drive like Google Drive. Now, what happens in Google Drive? Whenever you upload something, where does it go? It goes to Google server, where it like it. I think it goes to AWS. So it goes to AWS and it is stored there, right? So the problem with that is these are all centralized platforms. But if we are working in Web3, we also require decentralized storage. So Arcana provides you with Arcana Store, wherein you can build your like after building your applications, if you require decentralized storage, you can store that data with data privacy, availability, and security in your dApp by allowing users to store and retrieve that data using Arcana Store, and all your files are properly encrypted. Now, what I mean by access control? Now, let's go back to our example of Google Drive. So, for example, on Google Drive, here you have, like in Web 2, you have the opportunity to give access to only particular users who can access your file. But in Web 3, how can you achieve that? So in Web 3, Arcana helps you give the full control over your data that you are uploading to Arcana Store, or transfer the ownership. And it is all powered by Arcana blockchain. So the major benefit that you get by using Arcana Store and Access is you will have the complete liberty to decide who will have access to your data, when you want to revoke that access, with whom you want to share that access, and whenever you feel like you can delete the access of a particular user. And all of that is achieved by a concept called DID, which I will not go in depth now. So on the basis of this, we are coming to Hack the Mountain hackathon, and here we are giving you the opportunity to build whatever you feel like, a decentralized application which makes use of Arcana storage, access, or auth, or even all. If you use all of them, it gives you more perks when it comes to judging the hackathon. But yeah, now before talking about what you can expect in the hackathon from Arcana, I would like to pitch some of the project ideas that you can take. So, as I gave you the example of social media platforms, similarly, you can build any of the social media platform using the privacy stacks of Arcana, and you can make use of Arcana's auth. You can then store users file on Arcana storage and then give the access control to your users. Second, you would have seen that there are various marketplaces like OpenSea, Rarible. You can make those marketplaces using Arcana. Again, in a similar manner, all the files that the users would be uploading as NFTs can be then uploaded using Arcana storage. Another great thing that Arcana has make use of, has come up with, is private NFTs. So since we have discussed that Arcana also gives you the opportunity to have access control over your files. So what you can do, you can also give the liberty to your DApp users to not upload the actual file on these marketplaces, but to have a thumbnail sort of thing which depicts what would be there in your NFT, and it's not the actual file. Only when the ownership of that particular NFT is transferred to a particular person, that person then only would be able to download that particular file, and he or she will become the real owner of it. And again, all the access control will be then transferred to the person whom you are transferring the ownership to. Until and unless you don't share the ownership to, you will have all the access controls. This is how you can also make use of Arcana storage, but you can also make simple marketplaces as well. Also, you can create NFT based applications. One another great usage of Arcana's stack is in gaming. So if you are building any game, your players won't be having much knowledge about your private keys or seed phrase or how to make use of it. So they can then easily get onboarded on your platform using Arcana's auth SDK. And then another use that you can make of Arcana's storage SDK is you can give them some special perks. So whenever, for example, a player wins anything, you can give them a particular asset in the form of a private NFT. That could be another use case. So yeah, these are some of the projects idea that I had in mind. Obviously, there are n number of use cases wherein you can make use of Arcana's SDKs. So it's all up to you what new ideas you bring to the table, and whoever and the this hackathon that Arcana is coming to, this hack the mountains. We are also giving amazing bounties of 3,000 USD to the top three winners, wherein the first winner will get 1,500 USD, the second winner will get 1,000 USD, and the third will get 500 USD. So it's a great opportunity to showcase your project, even if if we get really interested in your project, you will also get the opportunity to proceed with your project, and Arcana will help you with some grants via which you can take your project forward. And we would love to see how creative you become with usage of Arcana's SDKs. And if you need any assistance during the hackathon, there'll be a team that will be available for you all the time. And if you want to go and see the documentation in order to become well acquainted with what you are going to build and how you are going to make use of Arcana's SDKs, you can definitely go to docs.arcana.network, wherein you will get all the details about the usage, about some of the sample projects, and also there are some YouTube videos on Arcana's YouTube channel, via which you can see some of the good applications of our SDKs. So yeah, that's majorly it. That's all about this session, and I hope you guys do well in the hackathon. We would love to see your projects. We'd love to meet you. So all the very best, and hope you do well. We'll be waiting for your projects.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your informative discussion. I'm sure everyone got to learn a lot today. And also, ma'am, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for us today. Now, I would like to go on to the questions. Ma'am, we have a lot of questions. So let's begin the questions. So, ma'am,
Okay.
the first,
Yeah.
yeah, where can I learn about Arcana?
Yeah, so Siddharth, as I just showed in the PPT, you can go to docs.arcana.network. There you will get all the information on the usage, how you can make use of Arcana's SDKs, and also if you are more of a video person, you can go to Arcana's YouTube channel. We have put in some content around some demo project, what is Arcana, and all of that. So you can go there and access all of it.
Okay, ma'am. Next, Mahi Dhiman asks, hello, ma'am. Can you please tell what exactly NFTs are?
Okay, so Mahi, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So by non-fungibility, we mean that those cannot be exchanged with anything else. So let me give you a small example by which you would be able to understand what NFTs are. So let's take an example of a pen. So let's say it's a pen that is easily available in the market. So there would be 100 copies of that particular pen available in the market. So if you and me both have the same pen, those are interchangeable. We can exchange those pens until used, uh, and they will hold the same value, right? But what if that I take that pen with me and I go to a particular conference and say any of the say any personality, say any Bollywood personality came to that particular hackathon, hack the mountains. Let's take Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, so if Shah Rukh Khan's come there and he uses my pen to sign a particular paper using that particular pen, now that pen has become non fungible because it has some value attached to it. It cannot be now exchanged with the pen that you have. So NFTs are something that cannot be exchanged for something that looks really similar to it. So I can explain to you why that, but yeah, that's majorly it.
Okay, ma'am. Next question we have from Aishwarya Nair. What's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3?
Okay, so in like I'll try to explain to you in very layman terms. So in Web 2, you had the you were not the true owner of your data. You had the opportunity to access your data, like read your data, but you did not have the complete authority of your data in Web 2 because all of that data was controlled by centralized companies like all the bigger firms that you know. Now in Web 3, all of that now has been shifted to blockchain. So now blockchain is a Web 3 can be think of as a decentralized web where there is no central authority or to access or to control the data that users have. So it can be think of as a decentralized web. uh, so yeah, that's the major difference between Web 2 and Web 3.
Okay, ma'am. So before going to the next question, we also have a compliment from Krish Cutter, and he like thanks you and tells you that it was a great session. So now we are going to the next question from Anmol, ma'am. Can we use React in programming languages?
So Anmol, there are two parts of creating a decentralized application. One is front end, one is back end. So the programming languages that I showed in the PPT, those were the back end programming language, which are used to write the smart contracts. Now, when it comes to front end, you can definitely
Okay, ma'am. So
make use
next,
of
oh, so you continue.
you can definitely make use of React, Vue, Svelte, any other programming language. Yeah.
So, ma'am, the next question is from Neha Sharma. These days, we are hearing some news like some company is building a whole metaverse and companies are buying land in it. How does this concept even stand? Like virtual land, like how is it standing?
Okay, I think for that you should watch a movie. I'm forgetting the name of it. So what will happen ultimately? What is shown in that movie? I think that's the best example of how you can imagine metaverse to be. So the world that we are living in now is not virtual, right? But your phone, it's like your virtual world. You're moving from one application to another. You are interacting with people via messages. It's just that you don't have a particular avatar. Your profile is like an avatar, right? So what happens in metaverse? It's like you will have your identity. Your identity will be your avatar, and you can then move around in that avatar, just like you move around in your normal life. It's just that it will all be virtual. So you'll be having those glasses on and you will get into a world which is completely virtual. And on that virtual world, you can then buy land, you can buy houses. These are some of the things you can do there. So it's more of like a virtual version of the world that you are living in.
Okay, ma'am. So I think this is a follow-up question on that. Sairam Kaushik asks, what is a metaverse? So I think you already answered.
Yeah, so that's already answered. I think we can move on to the next one.
Yes. So the next question is, what is smart contract in simple terms?
Okay, so you can think of smart contracts as unbreakable promises. So let's take an example of a normal contract. For example, I am buying a land, and I say I'm buying a land which was initially owned by Neha. So Neha had the complete authority to it, right? Now, when I go and buy that particular land, I'll have to write in on a paper that now I am the true owner of it, right? And once written, it cannot be changed. So, in a similar manner, in Web3 world, smart contracts are are like the unbreakable promises that you write in the form of functions, and then they cannot be changed, and they will do whatever you ask them to do. So it can be think of in that way, in the simplest manner possible.
Okay, ma'am. So Siddharth Banga asks, where is data actually stored in Web3 world?
So the data is not actually stored on the blockchain. So on blockchain, because if you start storing data on the blockchain, it will be very, very costly, because storing anything on the blockchain costs you money in the form of gas, right? So in Web3 world, there are companies like Arcana who have their storage blockchains where you can store the data. And then when they are stored, a copy of that particular transaction is then stored on the blockchain. So that's how it is now being done in Web3.
Okay, ma'am. The next question we have from Krish Khattar. The concept of D apps really confuses me. What exactly are D apps and how they are different from normal apps that we use currently?
Okay. So dApps can be think of as applications in Web3. So they are decentralized. No particular person or company has the authority to it. So if you are building a decentralized application, it will be making use of the blockchain, and blockchain is owned by no one. It's permissionless. It's trustless, right? There is no particular person who is running that particular blockchain. There are distributed nodes all over the world who are taking care of running that particular blockchain, right? So if you are building a decentralized application, there will be no true true owner of that particular application, and the users who are going to use your applications now, they will be the true owner of the data that they are now making on your particular platform.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, again, before going to a question, we have a compliment for you. Thank you so much for giving project ideas too. Actually, it is rare, like, a speaker giving project ideas. So, thank you, ma'am. Next question we have from Shrutika Saxena. How is Arcana working in Web3 space?
Yeah, so I think I have already talked about it. So I'll just give in one line. So Arcana is basically working on three major tech stacks, three major infra things. One is Arcana Auth, that I have talked about, by which you can onboard your users without friction, using social and passwordless authentication, and still making use of the blockchain. So those and then the next thing is storage. So all the files that you if you use Arcana's storage SDK, all the files will be properly encrypted and stored on Arcana's store. And third is access. So now you can give your users the benefit using Arcana's access, so that they can decide who will have access to their particular files, and they can revoke access, they can share the access, they can even transfer the ownership of the files that they are owning.
Okay, ma'am. So, the next question is, where can we learn Web3?
Okay, so for learning about Web3, you can even check out Arcana's YouTube channel. We have started creating a lot of content around how to learn Web3. Apart from that, you can take part in communities wherein people share great suggestions on some of the resources. Other than that, there are a lot of tech stacks involved in Web3, like back end, front end. So there are different resources that you can refer to for back end. For example, for Solidity, there is a great platform called Crypto Zombies. Then there is also a platform called Learn Web3 DAO for learning dApp development, and there for learning about how to build projects, you can refer to Build Space. So there are n number of platforms. I think it depends on you which one you like and which one you want to refer to.
Okay, ma'am. So next, again, we have a compliment for you. It will be a great help for project in HTM. So thank you. Next question we have from Kushi. Will social media apps die because of the metaverse, or is there any alternative in the Web3 world?
No, social media apps won't die. It's just that the way now they will be operated will become a bit different. Although now there will be no, as I think I've talked about it many times, that there will be no central company who will be running those applications, that will be running on a distributed in a distributed way. But yeah, social media platforms will not go anywhere. That's for sure.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is, how does IPFS work?
Okay, I will give some links in the comment section regarding it, and you can read from there. Because if I start talking about it, it'll take me too long.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for the links, ma'am. Can we move ahead with the next question?
Yes, yes, sure.
The next question is, what is Arcana token? How is Arcana network helping in Web3 industry?
Okay, so okay, so now Arcana token is basically something for, like, if you are participating in the hackathon, it's not something that you need to bother about for now. Every company releases their tokens in order to, uh, in order to, for example, later down the line, you will be using Arcana token on use if when you use Arcana's blockchain. But yeah, that's something I think that's not really very relevant for you now, if you are participating in hackathon making use of Arcana's SDKs.
Okay, ma'am. So the next question is, what is DAO?
Okay, DAOs are okay. So you can think of DAO as an organization wherein there is no hierarchy, and there is no particular person who is the leader or head of that particular community. These are run these are run as like all of the people run it on the basis of their contribution, as and more more contribution you have, more in like more part you will get of that particular DAO. And so y- in very simple terms, you can think of DAO as a community that is decentralized, and there is no central person to handle it.
Okay, ma'am. Next, we have a very interesting question from Monica Bhati. How is Web3 used in the field of education? Can we see in the future the Indian School of Education in the metaverse?
That's okay. That depends on your thinking capabilities, I believe. I think as we progress in this field of Web3, we can take use of this technology even to all the aspects of life, be it education, be it any other. So if we talk about in the field of education, you can build platforms wherein you can provide free education, and you can you can remove the barrier of entry. That's I believe that's the major thing that I can think of right now. But yeah, there are other use cases as well, which you can think of and come up with.
Okay, ma'am. Next question we have from Neha. Where is data actually stored in Web3 world?
I think I've already answered this question.
Yes, ma'am, we can move with that. How Web3 is evolving in the field of cybersecurity?
Okay, so I think now the questions are now being deviated from this hackathon, and I think I'll sit even if I sit the whole night, I won't be answer all the questions that are there. So Krish,
And it
I
is because you're
personally,
explaining in such a good way that people are getting intrigued.
yeah, I know. So, Krish, frankly speaking, I'm not into cybersecurity much. So, I would not be the right person to answer this question. I'm more into other domains. So, yeah, I would like to skip this question.
Okay, ma'am. So next question we have from Pranav: Is Web3 a bubble?
Web, like those who have entered the field of Web3 initially thought that it was a bubble. And when they saw a lot of people's involvement who are like who have been there in the industry for long and who are well known, then they got to know that it's not a bubble. And obviously it's not a bubble, it's something that is going to be in demand in future, and it is going to be the future because everyone is now very possessive about the data. They are very possessive on the usage of their particular data and how well they are able to access that data. So yeah, it's definitely not a bubble.
Yes, ma'am. And next question we have from Rohan Goda: How can we transform from a Web2 developer to a Web3 developer, maintaining the current change of technology?
So if you want to switch to Web3, so the front end technologies almost remain the same. For the backend, you will just have to learn a few technologies as I have talked about in my PPT. You'll have to learn the programming languages that are required to write the smart contracts. So if you are a Web2 developer, it's really a very plus point for you. And you I think if you put like 20-30% of your effort, because 70% you are already there, if you put 20-30%, then then you should be good to go. And you will also have to then combine your front end and web backend technologies using some of the JavaScript libraries like web3.js or ether.js. So that's how you can transform from a web2 developer to a web3 developer.
Okay, ma'am. Next
Just
question we
a
have from
second, just a second, Shubhangi.
Sure,
I
ma'am.
just need to plug in my charger. Just a second.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. So the next question we have from Ajay Kumar: What are some applications of Web3 in the IT industry?
So let me give you a quick example of that. So, for example, you run a company, and there would be some important documents that you cannot share with everyone. You only want to share it with limited number of folks. Okay, for example, for some of the stakeholders. Now, here you can make use of the blockchain technology and also make use of Arcana. So you can store those files on Arcana store and give only particular access to those particular people with whom you want to share your file with. And your file won't go anywhere because now you know that it is stored on the blockchain. If it's related to, say, for example, partnership, and you have written, if you write on the paper that for example, Shubhangi will get 5% stake. What if Shubhangi comes later and tell that these papers are invalid, and she somehow is able to prove that she owns 20%, right? So if you store those files in a decentralized manner on a decentralized platform, anyone can go and check, okay, even if it's 5 years ago or 10 years ago, they can get those files and tell that Shubhangi still owns only 5%.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question we have from what Diksha Bhati: What is gas fee?
Okay. So whenever you make any transaction on the blockchain, you have to pay a certain amount in the form of gas fee. So gas fee is majorly used so that there is no infinite loop when you do any transaction, and also it is being used as a reward amount for the. Am I still audible? Shubhangi, a bit. Ah, okay. So it is used
Yes,
as
yes.
a token of reward for the miners who are mining those blockchain transactions, because they would only be interested in doing so if they are incentivized. So these are the two reasons why we have gas fee. Yeah, so that answers this question.
Okay, ma'am. The next question we have from Vinay Bansal: How does the concept of nodes work in Web3, and where are these nodes stored actually?
Okay, so since in web3 and blockchain, you have nodes. Okay, so every computer that is running your blockchain, those are called nodes. So whenever you want to make any transaction or talk to a particular blockchain, you take help of a particular node. Now there are two ways to interact with the blockchain. Either you host your own node, or you make use of the node providers. There are certain node providers like Alchemy, Anchor, etc. And these nodes, most of the companies currently store their nodes on AWS, but there are some companies who run community run nodes as well, wherein community run those nodes in a distributed manner.
Okay, ma'am. The next question we have from Rajiv. Can we get Arcana people at HTM venue?
Yes, most probably there would be some people joining at the venue. I'm not really sure of it, but yeah, definitely would try to come.
Okay, ma'am. The next question we have: what are the possible challenges faced in Web3?
There are, like, if we talk about specifically the development part, user experience is one of the major challenge faced in Web3. It's not at par at how we have the experience in Web2, and that's what we have been trying to resolve with Arcana. Wherein we provide you with social onboarding and passwordless onboarding. So that's one of the friction that is there while building. Apart from that, like, some of the other challenges are, like, transactions mining can take time, and there are some hacks that are, like, there are some hacking that is being done in the background. So those are some of the things, those are some of the challenges, and I think as and when we progress forward, those will be overcome.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, there are many questions. I was just thinking that we could conclude with the questions with one final question.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, we are hearing about Web 5 already. So, will Web 3 fade out?
Definitely not. It's something that has come recently and will not go this easily. So there would be people who would, try different technologies, try different advancement in the current tech stacks, current technology that we have, but it's not going to fade out. Similar to how Web 2 will not fade out with the coming of Web 3. Web 2 will still be there. It's just that some of the modifications will be done, and that's how we get Web 3. So it's not like anything will fade out or something like that.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, thank you so much for answering all the questions very patiently. And also, ma'am, thank you so much for taking this session today. I am sure you must be very busy and taking out time from your schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so
Also,
much,
thank you
Shubhangi.
everyone for joining. For more information, you can visit the link shown in the banner where you will find everything related to our upcoming webinars, workshops, meetups, etc. You can also join us on Discord. Just say hi in the welcome chat, and we'll add you right in. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever. I mean, on all the social networking sites whose details are shown below. The Hack the Mountain 3.0 hackathon is held at the Manavajna International Institute of Research and Studies on the 17th and 18th of September 2022. Don't forget, we are hoping to meet you all there. Also, now, ma'am, would you like to say some parting words now since we are concluding?
I would just like to say that start building, just not in Web3, but if you are taking participation in the hackathons, I think there are great bounties available for you. So, and also some grant program if you do really well. So come build on Arcana and show us what you got.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you again, everyone who joined with us today. This session ends here, but we have so much more coming up. So stay tuned. For now, goodbye.
Bye bye.